Billahi ta'ala, have the good intentions. We're continuing in Juz 6, and we have reached Surat Maa'idah by the help of Allah Tabaraka wa ta'ala. I ask Allah to enable us to stay consistent and to move on and to continue this endeavor, to complete it. Ameen. Maa'idah means table spread or food spread. Food spread like how you put out a spread for a picnic. You put out a spread and you put food on it. If there's not food on it, it's not called Maa'idah. That's in reference to the miracle of Prophet Isa that shall come, insha'Allah ta'ala. And so the author says, Suratul Maa'idah, Hizb 11.3. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. يا أيها الذين آمنوا أوفوا بالعقود يا أيها الذين آمنوا أوفوا بالعقود. O those who have believed, fulfill the covenants, fulfill the obligations that Allah has ordained on you. Fulfill what Allah has imposed on you and that for which He has made you responsible and accountable. And it's valid to interpret this as fulfill the covenant of Allah by legalizing whatever He made legal and prohibiting whatever He made prohibited. Don't legalize or illegalize from yourselves as if you don't believe in God. Rather, whatever God made legal, you deem it legal. Whatever He made illegal, you deem it illegal. And if you want something more, don't even have an opinion. Try not to even have an opinion. Say, when someone asks you, what do you think? Say, whatever the religion says. And if someone said, what does the religion say? And you didn't know, you say, I don't know. And then they say, so how do you have that opinion? You say, I don't have an opinion. Whatever the religion says, is that's what I will say. Until I know what the religion says, I don't know what to say. أُحِلَّتْ لَكُمْ بَهِيمَةُ الْأَنْعَامِ. Legalized for you to eat after proper slaughter is the beast of the an'am livestock. The livestock that's called an'am. Legalized for you to eat is the livestock. Yani, for you to eat it after proper slaughter is the bahima. Bahima means animal. And al-an'am is the livestock. And the livestock here, or if you want, the cattle, not by American meaning of cattle. American meaning of cattle is cow. Broader meaning of cattle is livestock. That would include sheep and the goats and other animals, like the camel. And the an'am, religiously, they are camels, cattle, sheep, and goats, just like you learned in the chapter of zakat. Didn't you learn the chapter of zakat? Aren't there animals subject to zakat? Yes. Which animals are those? The an'am. What are they? Camels, cattle, sheep, and goats. And there are other sayings about what that is, but you can take that for now. إِلَّا مَا يُتْلَى عَلَيْكُمْ, except what shall be recited upon you in the 3rd verse of this chapter. What shall be recited on you is not legalized for you. It's coming. غَيْرَ مُحِلِّ الصَّيْدِ وَأَنْتُمْ حُرُمٌ. these livestock are legalized for you while you are not legalizers of hunting game when you are in the state of ihram, or while you are in the state of ihram. غير محل الصيد وأنتم حرم. So, legalized for you is the beast of the livestock, except what shall be recited on you. What's going to be recited upon you to be forbidden is forbidden for you, not legalized for you. And uh, this beast of the livestock is legalized for you while you are not legalizers of hunting game while you are in the state of ihram. Meaning, when you are in the state of ihram for hajj or umrah, you know, when you are in the state of ihram for hajj or umrah, you cannot hunt. Hunting is forbidden until you get out of the state of ihram. Uh, yeah. So if you are in the state of ihram, then you're not going to legalize hunting because that's haram if you are in the state of ihram. So you're not going to, as a muhrim, you're not going to legalize hunting game. So as a muhrim, you're not going to legalize hunting game. So you, muhrim, there's no hunting for you. There's no game for you, is the meaning of the hunt. Then what's legalized for you? You, muhrim, what's legalized for you to eat? The domesticated animals. The domesticated animals. So if you're a muhrim, then you can go get the camel or the cow or the sheep or the goat and slaughter it. That's not called hunting. So that meaning is taken from the verse. Legalized for you is the livestock, the beast of the livestock. Okay, Yani, you're not going to hunt that one. You're not going to hunt a cow. You're going to get geared up. You're going to grab your arrows, everything, trap, everything, so you can go hunt a cow. It's not hunting. Legalized for you is the beast of the an'am, of the livestock, while you are not legalizers of hunting game. So you can't hunt game, but you can eat the domesticated animals that don't require hunting while you are in the state of ihram. Inna Allah yahkumu ma yurid. Surely Allah adjudicates what He wills. So there is no objection to Him. Yani Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala makes any rules that He wills. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تحلوا شعائر الله. O those who have believed, do not violate the rights of Allah. Do not commit sacrilege, and do not have irreverence towards the rights of Allah, the signs of Allah's religion. The rights of Allah are the signs of His religion. Do not violate the months of the Hajj. Do not subject the gifted sacrifices to thievery. We're going to say what the gifted sacrifices are. Do not prevent the sacrifices from being delivered to the sacred territory. Do not violate the seekers of the holy house by blocking their path and preventing them from performing the rituals. So this verse forbids targeting those who are seeking the reward and the acceptance of Allah out of respect for them. Those people, pilgrims, out of respect for them and their noble goal, you are forbidden from violating them. And do not hunt in the sacred territory. لا تحلوا شعائر الله. Do not violate the rights of Allah. The signs of Allah's religion, like the stations for throwing the stones, and the place for circling the Kaaba, and the lanes for making sa'i between the two mountains, and the shaving and the slaughtering of sacrifices. Yes, you can slaughter domesticated animals while you are in a state of ihram. What's forbidden is to hunt. Slaughtering domesticated animals is not hunting. What's forbidden is to hunt the land animals. Also, hunting the sea animals is not haram. That means fishing. Fishing is not haram while you are in a state of ihram. So here we have in Surat Maa'idah some rules pertaining to the Hajj and gives you some clarity about some of the things that you've learned. So when you learn obligatory knowledge, for example, what do you learn? You learn about what's obligatory in the Hajj and what's haram in the Hajj without necessarily learning the ayahs and the hadiths about that. Ameen wa iyyakum. Wala shahr al-haram. And do not violate the revered month. In the revered month, that's singular expression, but what's meant is the months of Hajj. The month of Hajj, if I say a summarized expression for you, I'd say from the Hajj, from the Eid until the Eid. From Eid, Eid al-Fitr, after Ramadan is over, until the Eid, Eid al-Adha. So, when is Eid al-Fitr? That's the first of Shawwal. Shawwal is the month after Ramadan. You can make the intention for ihram from then. Once Ramadan is over, you can make the intention of ihram for Hajj. Ihram for Hajj. From Shawwal, starting with the Eid day. And this time of making ihram for Hajj extends through Dhul Qa'dah and ends with the dawn of the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. Dhul Hijjah is the month of Hajj itself. And that's the dawn of Eid al-Adha. So from the Eid until the Eid. That's for Hajj. When can you make ihram for Umrah though? You can tell me. I think many of you should be able to tell me. Some of you went on Umrah. When can you make ihram for Umrah? I just told you the time for ihram for Hajj is, with a summarized word, from the Eid till the Eid. When can you make ihram for Umrah? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Any time of the year. You can make ihram for Umrah any time of the year. You can make ihram for Hajj during the Hajj months. So the ayah is forbidding violating the months of Hajj, but it's with a singular expression here, the month of Hajj. as if to say the Hajj season, the Ihram season. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تحلوا شعائر الله ولا الشهر الحرام. Do not violate the rights of Allah and do not violate the revered month. ولا الهدي ولا القلائد, nor violate the gifted sacrifices, nor violate the garlands. What are the gifted sacrifices? The gifted sacrifices are what's sacrificed of animals gifted to the house for the sake of Allah. Yani taken to the sacred territory to be sacrificed there, and then the meats of these sacrifices distributed to the people of the haram. What an endowment for the people of the haram. Allah gives endowment to whomever He wills. So what we're saying here is you might be going to Hajj. So in these days, one of us would go to Hajj on the airplane, for example, so then he wouldn't do what I'm going to say right now, which is you might go to Hajj like in the old days and you'd be bringing a camel with you on the trip so that you can sacrifice it there. You're not going to sacrifice it where you are. You're taking it to the sacred territory, the haram, to sacrifice it there. So those are the gifted sacrifices. وَلَا الْقَلَائِدِ, nor the garlands or the ornaments. Don't violate the ornaments. What are the ornaments? The ornaments refers to that by which the gifted sacrifices are adorned. It means this camel or this cow which you are taking, or this sheep or goat which you are taking to the haram with you to sacrifice. Out of your worship to Allah, you might decorate that one. So you give it, put it around its neck something, and put on its back something, and put on its legs something. And then take this decorated animal with you to the sacred territory to sacrifice it for the sake of Allah. So do not violate the ornaments, that by which the gifted sacrifices are adorned or decorated, such as footwear, such as footwear, and tree bark that is tied to the gifted sacrifice as a sign that it's al-hadi, the gifted sacrifice. So if you maybe Google, for example, the qala'id and the hadi, like I'm talking about Google image pictures, then you'll see like camels and animals that the Muslims bring to sacrifice and the types of adornments that they would put on those animals. And it's possible that the al-qala'id here, the ornaments, refers to the camels, the decorated camels in particular. And if that's the case, that al-qala'id here refers to the decorated camels, then why mention the camels? Are they not already included amongst the gifted sacrifices? Yes, they are. So the ayah would mean, do not violate the rights of Allah or the revered month or the gifted sacrifices or the decorated camels. Yes. And the decorated camels, they are gifted sacrifices? Yes. So why mention them if they're already mentioned, if they're already included? The answer is because they're special. The camels in particular are the best of the gifted sacrifices. So according to interpreting the qala'id as the decorated camels, then they are singled out for their being special. وَلَا آمِّنَ الْبَيْتَ الْحَرَامِ, nor the seekers of the holy house. Do not violate the seekers of the holy house. What's the case of those seekers? The Amin, those who are seeking Al-Bayt Al-Haram, the holy house, the sacred house. What are they doing? يَبْتَغُونَ فَضْلًا مِّن رَّبِّهِمْ وَرِضْوَانًا. They are seekers of the holy house, aspiring for profit through trade. Profit through trade, which is generosity from their Lord, and they are seeking acceptance from their Lord. Don't violate them either. So we already said up here, what's the meaning of this violation that is forbidden here? The meaning of violating these things is committing sacrilege and having irreverence towards them, violating the months of Hajj and subjecting the gifted sacrifices to thievery, extortion, and being prevented from delivery to the sacred territory. And violating the seekers of the holy house is by blocking their path and preventing them from performing the rituals. The verse forbids targeting those who are seeking the reward and the acceptance of Allah out of respect for them. And according to Jalalain, the violation is hunting in the sacred territory. So we saw ayat for Al-Hajj in Surah Al-Baqarah. Here we found some more ayat of Al-Hajj in Surah Al-Maa'idah. Are there some ayat about Al-Hajj in Al-Imran and An-Nisa? I don't recall. Inshallah, we'll review. But you see then how the Quran is not just for someone to pick it up and read it and he has no knowledge. A person without learning properly from a teacher, it is unlikely that he will decipher the religion by reading the Quran. Unlikely. Yani, you see how the topics of the Quran are dispersed, distributed through different surahs. And in Yani, you need to have the knowledge to put it together, put it all together. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. This Quran is very amazing. وَإِذَا حَلَلْتُمْ فَاصْطَادُوا. And when you exit the state of ihram, then you are permitted to hunt. And when you are halal, then hunt. وَإِذَا حَلَلْتُمْ. So if you want to be really literal here, when you are halal, then hunt. It says here, when you exit the state of ihram, that's the meaning of being halal. So right now, maybe all of you, I don't know, but I'm just guessing, maybe all of you, none of you listening now is in a state of ihram. I'm not. So if that's the case, then all of us are halal. And likewise, when Allah says here, غَيْرَ مُحِلِّ الصَّيْدِ وَأَنْتُمْ حُرُمٌ. وَأَنْتُمْ حُرُمٌ. It means while you are haram, not legalizing hunting the game while you are haram. What does that mean? You are haram. That means you're in a state of ihram. So if you're in a state of ihram, it's valid to say you are haram. If you are in the state of ihram, you might say to someone, no, I'm haram. Maybe you're in a state of ihram and then somebody ask you, can you be a witness in my marriage? Or you want to get married? Or something like that. So what you're going to say? You're going to say, la, I can't. I'm haram. And when I'm haram, I can't have anything to do with the marriage contract at any capacity because I've learned the rules of Hajj. And then when you get out of the state of ihram, then you can say, now I'm halal. Now I'm going to hunt. And here, the wording of the ayah is a command. فَاصْطَادُوا, then hunt. So if you take what's in parentheses here out, then you'd see it. And when you are halal, then hunt. But we added here the parentheses because this is not an obligation. Hunting is not an obligation. So although this came in the form of a command, and a command usually proves an obligation, originally proves an obligation, sometimes it does not prove an obligation if there's evidence to say otherwise. In this case, what's the evidence that hunting is not an obligation, although Allah commanded the hunting here? The consensus of the scholars. The scholars have a consensus that hunting itself is not an obligation. So then, isn't the consensus definitive evidence and always correct? Yes. So then, we have to put the evidence together. Here's an evidence from the Quran. فَاصْطَادُوا, then hunt. And there's a consensus from the scholars, which is evidence that hunting is not obligatory. So when you put those two proofs together, then the result is that this is a command for permission, not command for obligation, command for permission. So, and that's what you do sometimes. If you permit someone to do something, you might permit him with an expression that's a command. So someone might ask you, can I? And then you say, do it. So it means, sure, go ahead. You are allowed to. You are permitted to. And it's not obligatory on you. Go ahead. وَلَا يَجْرِمَنَّكُمْ شَنَآنُ قَوْمٍ أَن صَدُّوكُمْ عَنِ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ أَن تَعْتَدُوا. And definitely let not the hatred of some people, because they blocked you from the sacred masjid, provoke you to aggression. Yani, on the day of Hudaybiyah, when the Muslims wanted to make Umrah. Remember the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he saw in his dream that he and his companions were performing Umrah. So then they became happy and then they wanted to go to Umrah. So they went to Umrah. And when the kuffar knew that the Muslims were coming from Medina to make Umrah, they headed the Muslims off at this area called Hudaybiyah. Means before they got to Mecca, they encountered the Muslims at Hudaybiyah to stop them from coming to Mecca. And it was then that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made the treaty with the kuffar, the treaty of Hudaybiyah, the treaty that was to guarantee peace between Mecca and Medina and allow travel between the two towns. This treaty, which the kuffar took some unfair advantage of, but wound up being to the Muslims' advantage. That's a story in itself. But anyway, part of the agreement was that the Muslims could not make Umrah that year, but they could come back the next year. So the Muslims were sore from that. They were vexed from that. They were heated from that. That the kuffar stopped them from making Umrah like that. So what do you do when you are angry with someone and vexed, and maybe actually you might hate their guts? What you might do? You might seek revenge. So what did Allah say? وَلَا يَجْرِمَنَّكُمْ شَنَآنُ قَوْمٍ أَن صَدُّوكُمْ عَنِ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ أَن تَعْتَدُوا. And definitely let not the hatred of some people, because they blocked you from the sacred masjid, provoke you to transgression. Let not their hatred provoke you to transgression. Transgression because they blocked you from the sacred masjid. Do not allow the hatred of those people, your hatred for those people, uh, or those people's hatred, do not allow those people's hatred drive you believers to retaliate and seek vengeance. وتعاونوا على البر والتقوى وتعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان. And cooperate in good and piety, and do not cooperate in sin and transgressions. This ayah, you might have learned it before. This is important proof here. تعاونوا على البر والتقوى. Cooperate in the good and cooperate in piety and God-fearingness. Yani, how would you do that? By cooperating in the dawah efforts, helping the Muslims in the dawah efforts, in spreading the religion, and in maintaining the masjid, maintaining the musalla, and those types of things. Not being contrary one when the Muslims are trying to make advancements. Be a helpful one. Helpful with your time, helpful with your money, helpful with your effort. وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. And do not cooperate in sin and transgression. So this is the evidence that you cannot help someone commit a sin. And more so, you cannot help someone commit blasphemy. And if you help someone sin, then you share in the sin. And if you help someone commit blasphemy, then you share in the blasphemy. Like someone said to you, can you take me to the church so I can worship there? So then you have to say, no, I can't do it. That's blasphemy, or less than blasphemy. Like your parents said, can you go pick up this pizza that I ordered that has pepperoni and sausage? So you're going to say, no, I can't do it. And if it's me, I'm not going to say sorry. I'm not going to say sorry, I can't do it. I'm just going to say, I can't do it. I'm not sorry, I can't do it. Because maybe you might say sorry because you want to be polite or something. I'm not going to say sorry though. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. And fear the punishment of Allah. Surely Allah is severe in punishment. حرمت عليكم الميتة والدم ولحم الخنزير وما أهل لغير الله به والمنخنقة والموقوذة والمتردية والنطيحة وما أكل السبع إلا ما ذكيتم وما ذبح على النصب. Forbidden for you to eat is what already died. حرمت عليكم الميتة. Forbidden for you is the dead. Now, don't be confused here. Don't you know there's a type of person who's going to say, it's forbidden to eat what's dead? Ah, but when I buy the chicken from the market, isn't it dead? So, yeah, that's not what we're talking about here. It's forbidden for you to eat what's dead means was already dead. That means does not have valid slaughter. Like you encountered a dead bird under the tree. You came to the tree, there was a purple little chick, dead, with his eyes still closed, laying right there in the ground. So you're gonna say, "Oh, that's a baby. Maybe his meat is so tasty." No, you're gonna say that's dead. It's already dead. I can't eat it. But that doesn't include the locust or the fish. The locust or the fish is, if it is a meta, you can still eat it. That's excluded from this ayah, not included in this ayah by other evidence. Wadam, and flowing blood. The flowing blood is the blood that erupts from the gash. But what did we learn about? If there's a qualifier, there should be a reason for it. Why say flowing? Is there a blood that's other than a flowing blood and therefore is legal for us to consume? Yes. Which blood? The liver and the spleen. Those two are solid bloods, not muscle. It's not lahm. Liver is not lahm. It's not flesh. It's dam. It's blood, but has the consistency of meat. This one is not flowing blood. You can eat it. And also the spleen. وَلَحْمُ الْخِنْزِيرِ, and the flesh of the pig. And all of the pig, not just its flesh, any part of it. But the only reason why the flesh is mentioned in particular is because that's mostly what is sought from the pig. But the people who eat pig, they actually eat all of it. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ تَعَالَى. Imagine somebody who wants to eat nasty pig nose, snotty pig nose. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ تَعَالَى. وَمَا أُهِلَّ لِغَيْرِ اللَّهِ بِهِ, and what is pronounced for other than Allah, that's forbidden for you. To eat that over which the name of other than Allah was pronounced. That over which the name of other than Allah was pronounced. The voice was raised in slaughter, while slaughtering one's voice, the slaughterer's voice was raised in mentioning other than Allah. You can't eat that also. Even if that's from a Jew or a Christian. If the Jew or the Christian slaughters in other than God's name, you can't eat that. If the Jew or the Christian slaughter without a name, you can eat it. Or if they slaughter in God's name, you can eat it even though they don't believe in God properly. وَالْمُنْخَنِقَةِ وَالْمُنْخَنِقَةِ, and the strangled and otherwise suffocated, like it drowned. That's like being strangled. Yani, suffocated is broadest word here. We're going to say strangled though. Munkhaniqa. Strangled. Choked. But drowning has same judgment. وَالْمَوْقُوذَةِ and the battered, the walloped animals, like you took a bat or you took a club and you just beat the animal to death. SubhanAllah. Some people, they take a hammer, talking about some heavy duty stuff here. Hammer that's it needs like two hands. And they lift this hammer, it's like sledgehammer, Yani. And then they will bang the animal in the head with it. The cow will just be right there, and then bam! They bust the cow in the head with a sledgehammer, and then he falls down. So if he dies from this, you cannot eat that. And the bullet falls here. Killing the animal with a bullet is battering it, it's walloping it with blunt force. As opposed to killing it with a sharp edge, hitting it with an arrow or a spear, this is not battering it. وَالْمَوْقُوذَةِ and the fallen, meaning it fell to its death, fell off cliff, for example, or the hawk picked it up, the eagle picked it up and flew away and then dropped it, and it fell from very high and hit the ground and died. Now, you can't eat that. وَالنَّطِيحَةِ and the impaled one, stabbed, like some deer. They were fighting, some bucks. They were fighting, and then one of them got shanked, meaning the antlers of one of them went inside the other one, stabbed him, punctured him, and then he died from his puncture wounds. So you can't eat that. وَمَا أَكَلَ السَّبُعُ and what the predators ate. Can't eat that. إِلَّا مَا ذَكَّيْتُمْ except what you slaughtered. Meaning, any of these, you caught it still alive, and so you slaughtered it. Yani, here, this exception, except إِلَّا مَا ذَكَّيْتُمْ, this exception starts here with the strangled one. Doesn't go back further than that. Because what's before the strangled one? What was slaughtered in other than God's name? This one is not included in the exception. And the pig meat, this one is not included in the exception. And the flowing blood, and what was already dead. So the exception starts here. وَالْمُنْخَنِقَةُ وَالْمَوْقُوذَةُ وَالْمُتَرَدِّيَةُ وَالنَّطِيحَةُ وَمَا أَكَلَ السَّبُعُ and the strangled, and the battered, and the fallen, and the impaled, and what the predators ate. إِلَّا مَا ذَكَّيْتُمْ you can't eat any of that except what you found still alive, with stable life, not shaking from the throes of death, and then you slaughtered it. Then you can eat it. وَمَا ذُبِحَ عَلَى النُّصُبِ and what was slaughtered upon the erected idols, the altars, some stones that they worshipped. They worshipped these stones actually themselves. They were idols, but they were like tables too. These idols were like tables for the sacrifice. That means they weren't the normal idols in the regard of the idol worshippers. They were special idols. Idols for sacrificing upon them and spilling the blood over them out of worship to those idols. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ anything slaughtered upon the altars, which are the erected idols, you cannot eat that. وَأَن تَسْتَقْسِمُوا بِالْأَزْلَامِ and that you seek fortune by the arrow shafts. Seeking fortune by the arrow shafts, that's something the Arabs used to do, and other cultures would just have some variant of this, which is that the Arabs would have some arrow shafts. That means the point is not on it, and the end, like with the feathers, not on it. It's just a shaft, and it would be written on one of them, "Do," and it would be written on another one, "Don't do," and then a third one would be blank, or it would be written on one, "My Lord commands me," and it would be written on another, "My Lord forbids me," and then the third one would be blank, and then you shuffle them, and then you pull out one. So if it says, "My Lord commands me," then the person would do it. If it says, "My Lord forbids me," the person would not do it. And if it was the blank one, then he would draw again. ذَلِكُمْ فِسْقٌ. That is major sin. الْيَوْمَ الْيَوْمَ يَئِسَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ دِينِكُمْ. Today, those who have disbelieved have despaired from your religion. They are hopeless of destroying your religion, and they are hopeless of defeating your religion. فَلَا تَخْشَوْهُمْ وَاخْشَوْنِ. So do not fear them, O believers, and fear me, fear God. اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. Today I have completed your religion for you. Today, Yani, when this ayah was revealed, by the revelation of this ayah, all of the rules that you need for your accountability have been revealed. All of the rules that you need have been revealed. And even the general rules that the mujtahids will need in the future for making legal comparisons about things that haven't happened yet, they are revealed too. اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم. Today I have completed your religion for you. By the revelation of this ayah, you are informed that you have received all of the rules. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam has conveyed all of the rules. وَأَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي. And I have completed upon you my endowment. وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا. And I have approved for you Islam as a religion and no other religion. No other religion is approved. فَمَنِ اضْطُرَّ فِي مَخْمَصَةٍ غَيْرَ مُتَجَانِفٍ لِإِثْمٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. So whoever was in dire need, in famine, not inclining towards sin, not wanting to eat haram meat for its own sake because he likes the meat. Rather, he was in dire need, in famine, starving to death. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Allah is forgiving of what he ate and merciful by allowing him to eat it. صَدَقَ اللَّهُ الْعَظِيمُ. Allah knows best. So we managed to complete 3 ayahs. You see, the ayahs are longer here in this surah. So the ayahs of the Quran, they have some different styles. And some of them are longer ayahs, and some of them are shorter ayahs. But all of them are eloquent. Every single ayah of the Quran is maximum eloquence. Not a single sentence in the Quran is even close to being weak. That's different from the speech of the people, because even the most eloquent speakers, they won't escape. I'm not talking about a prophet though. They won't escape some weakness in their talk, even a little bit. Sometimes, even rarely, somehow something weak creep into what they are saying. Wallahu a'lam. Do you have any question I can answer for you?